Welcome to Feared Armor. On this channel, I talk about a battle raging between the forces of good and evil in the dimensional realm, and how that manifests itself into our physical world. What I can also help you with is to become resolved for difficult times that are on our horizon. And I can really help you become a very feared individual with the armor of God wrapped around you. Now, the foundation of this channel is a book that I wrote called The Deathless War. And tonight we're going to continue talking about enemy strategies. And in particular, we're going to talk about confusion. Confusion is something that, again, we can use the current global health crisis as a barometer for just how much confusion is out there. A lot of reports of, does this drug work? Does that drug not work? Is it harmful? Is it dangerous? Should we open the country? Shouldn't we? It just seems like there's an awful lot of confusion that's surrounding it. So again, we can use this as this crisis as a barometer for how confusion is injected into a particular situation. And in this one, it happens to be a global health crisis. But for the powers of good and evil battling amongst each other, injecting confusion into whether or not the Bible is real, whether or not God exists, that's really the main focus of the battle. Obviously, God would never be one to inject confusion, just as he would not try to inject frustration or make people fearful or nervous. He's all about be calm, because from his perspective, we only live on this earth for a very, very short period of time. Just a micro moment in time compared to God's overall perspective of infinite future time, both past and present. So from God's perspective, I certainly can't speak for God, but that's the best thing that I can at least wrap my own mind around, the concept that we're here for just a micro moment in time. And in the earlier videos, when I talked about gaining perspective of your purpose, I think really life really just boils down to just one basic decision, is which side of this dimensional battle do you align yourself with? It's really no more complicated than that. Yes, we have all of these intricacies that make each and every one of us completely unique. We all traverse through life in our own completely unique and one-of-a-kind way, but those are all just how we micromanage ourselves day to day. The overall concept and the overall perspective is simply aligning ourselves with one side or the other in this dimensional battle. So if I were on the evil side, how would I inject confusion into the process of whether or not I would believe whether or not God existed or not, whether or not the Bible was a reliant source of information that we could really count on? Well, by injecting confusion, I would just start creating a lot of different various types of religions. I would splinter off the original religion into, let's say, 2 parts, and then from those 2 parts to 4 parts, and to 8 parts, and to 16 parts, and so on and so forth. So now over time, we technically have thousands of different religions that come from a dozen main focal religions. And I'm not going to go through all those because there's lots of information out there that you can get from that. But injecting confusion and splintering off all of these different religions. What does people nowadays, right, what do they have to hang their hat on? There's so many different religions saying so many different things. Who should you believe? In other words, let me boil it down into something just very, very simple. If I were to give you the choice between two completely polar opposite decisions that you had to make, good or evil, that's it. Which would you choose? And if you knew what was involved with choosing either side, which would you choose? So in the Bible, we certainly know that individuals that side against God are going to have a very, very horrific future. And these include angels that resided with God in heaven. So if that's one choice, and the other choice is being with God, and there are individuals that have actually had near-death experiences. Dr. Mary C. Neal, in her book, talked about this. She had family, a loving husband. She loved her husband. She loved her kids. And when her dimensional form took over her consciousness, she literally remembered being frustrated by people trying to resuscitate her back to life, because she couldn't believe the experience, how wonderful and joyful that experience was, where she literally was frustrated to come back to her loving husband and her children. So if you knew those were the two polar opposites, which would you choose? I think it would be self-explanatory, right? I mean, who would want to suffer for infinite future time? You know, no one, zero. No one would ever, ever, ever choose that, knowing that is what their infinite future dimensional form would reside within. No one. Given the fact that all you had to do was choose the other side, and the other side would, for your infinite future dimensional form existence, live in total and complete happiness, right? There's actually no decision to that choice whatsoever. So it needed to take time. It took thousands of years, thousands of splintered fractures of religions, to now have thousands of choices available and talk about confusion. We have a ton of it. So in enemy strategies, at least when it comes to the choice between deciding the fate of your dimensional form across infinite future time, I think the choice is very, very simple, very, very straightforward. But confusion from the enemy of all these different religions that people have all these choices from has injected this element of nobody really knows what to do. Nobody knows a clear and cut choice. Again, choosing to side with God is going to take a leap of faith on your part, but I can assure you that, at least from my perspective, you couldn't make a better decision. Okay, that's it for this video. God bless. I'll see you on the next video.